Compare Hong Kong to mainland China. Hong Kong digital payment is so weak.
If something happens with the economy and you are keeping the US and then the US dollar loses the power, then you also lose the purchase power. Digital currencies are also used to, let's say, pay for
That's true.
things which are not legal.
Not only online currency, anything with online, anything with digital, with electronic, basically we are linked. Hello everybody. Today I'm so happy with Sarah, one of our hosts.
Hi.
I'm Jonathan, and today we have invited a very distinguished guest, and let him introduce
our
his
handsome
name.
guest.
Our handsome guest.
Hi everyone, my name is Pablo. I am originally from Peru. I'm working in Hong Kong for 4 years, originally in the banking industry and just recently moved on to the tech industry, doing risk management. So happy to be here sharing with you guys. Thank you for invitation.
So do you have a Hong Kong name?
I have a Chinese name, yeah.
Oh, so what's your Chinese name?
My Chinese surname is Chen. Chen, C-H-E-U-N-G.
Zhang.
Yes.
Zhang Sang.
And then my, yeah, you can call me Chen. My name is Ji San, Ji Hao Ge Ji, Han San Ge San.
Zhang Ji San. Beautiful name.
It's an old school name, I think.
Handsome name.
Yeah, my Gong Gong gave me the name.
Oh, okay.
So if you like our video, please subscribe, comment, and like our video below.
Yeah, if you like, please make sure to subscribe to our channel.
So let's stick with our topic now today. Because since Pablo you work in the foreign bank in Hong Kong, so I would like to ask you, what do you think about the currency digitalization nowadays? Is it a global trend right now in
Like
the world?
the Alipay, yeah.
I think what I have seen, especially after the pandemic, because this is the context right now, many payments now are being done, or many transactions are being done online, right?
Yeah.
And there are different payment platforms. You know, in Hong Kong, you have PayMe. There's also Alipay. There's also WeChat Pay. There is many ways to avoid the contact because that's the purpose of the.
It's very convenient with the digital currency.
Yes, no need to withdraw the cash and risk having the money in your pocket. So it's very common right now to see it.
So is it going to be a global trend? Because in China, basically mainland China, even if we compare Hong Kong to mainland China, Hong Kong digital payment is so weak in my perspective.
Yeah.
While in mainland China, I think Sarah knows everything about it.
I don't need to take my wallet.
Yeah,
when I go out. Just one iPhone. One phone is okay.
Is fine, then you can do whatever payment.
Yeah. Even the taxi and the supermarket and the restaurant.
Yeah.
I remember when I went to first time I went to mainland China, I was carrying cash, and I was actually queuing up to pay, but I saw everyone was using WeChat Pay, so I felt that there is definitely a difference.
Yes.
I think in other countries you don't really have the infrastructure yet. For example, I come from Peru originally, and many things are done with cash only, so there is no really way to do it. But I think the trend is to move on to digital payments.
Yes, exactly. So since China is doing very well, with digital payment, and my next question for you is that what do you think about the prospect of Chinese digital currency? What I've read from some news these days, there is basically a currency called DCEP, which stands for Digital Currency Electronic Payment. Such digital currency is basically backed by the People's Bank of China. So I assume there will be a legitimate online currency in China. So what do you think about it? And do you think the prospect of such digital currency in China is going to influence the whole world in the coming decade?
Yeah, I think initially what I can see is China is basically, the digital currencies are widely used in China, right? And right now we have many ways of doing it. WeChat Pay, you have Alipay. So I think initially if the government wants to promote these kind of currencies, it probably can replace those kind of payments first, right? And then later on, I think it depends on whether you can use this currency outside of China as well. Let's say if you want to do some trading or you just want to buy something for yourself, depending on whether you're a company or just a personal, individual person. Is it possible to do it? Let's say you travel to the US, can you possibly use it? Or to travel to Europe, can you possibly use it there? So I think it's about infrastructure. Let's say, for example, WeChat Pay. You can only use it in, let's say, in Peru or in South America. Or in Hong Kong, in some places you can use it.
Not everywhere.
It depends on the infrastructure. So as long as the infrastructure is there and people can use it, then I think it can probably also be one of the ways of paying.
So of course, those some small transactions, like basically you go buy bubble teas and so on, that's a small transaction. But big transactions like oil company, particularly the Middle East.
In some commercial trade, the big amount of the money transaction.
For example, the Chinese or the China market is buying oil from these oil countries through DCEP. Once they have paid the oil company or oil countries with DCEP and they spend the money through other platforms or they purchase something from other countries, China will track or can be able to track all these transactions.
Right.
You know, that is quite a sort of a, is it a concern? Foreigners like the US government is challenging, saying that this will undermine or we have security problems or China is tracking every single transaction in the world and which will threaten their position. What do you think about it?
I think definitely there's a lot of politics behind it, right? So the world has been using the US dollar for I don't know how many years, but long time for trading, right? So I can tell my experience, for example, in my country, we used to use it a lot. Even, for example, the prices of housing in my country are still in US dollars.
Oh, okay.
Some years ago, I remember when I was young, I played football, so I used to go and buy shoes. I remember the prices were also in dollars.
US dollars.
Yes, and that was because we went through a crisis before, and our currency was very weak, and people started to use a foreign currency. So it's all about acceptance, because right in those kind of countries, Ecuador also they actually use a lot of US dollars as well.
Yeah.
So there is no other currency, right? But if let's say there is some trading with other major currencies, let's say for example Euro or RMB in those countries, then people would know more about them and then they can potentially use it. But it's all about the relationship as well. For example, if there is more trading with these kind of countries, for example, the oil countries, then they can also, if you're the company, the owner of the company, you get so China buys the oil, right? So you get the money there. What do you use the money for? Then you have to invest for your new projects and you have to probably pay your staff. So can you do it in the same currency? That's the question, because in those countries maybe they do not use that currency. So it's all about how popular or how much people can use the currency to spend it later, because at the end of the day you have to spend the money somehow.
So do you think, generally speaking, do you think DCEP will significantly threaten the US position in the global world?
Yeah, because now the US economics is not very strong. They're weak, during the era. But the China's leading this a strong country and in the leading position in the world. So maybe the RMB is getting more stronger and stronger in the world. So how do you think about?
I think basically USD is widely used right now because US is the first economy, right? As long as let's say other country like China can take over, probably people will try or would start using the currency because it's kind of involved in major trading, right? But then let's say you have, I guess you also have some savings in other currencies, right? For example, you save some money in US dollars. If the economy, right, because you don't only, you have some
Canada dollars,
also,
the US dollars.
The problem is, right, that there is a challenge there because the USD is backed by the Federal Reserve of the US. If something happens with the economy and you are keeping the US and then the US dollar loses the power, then you also lose the purchase power with the money you have, right? So let's say that there is another currency, RMB, which is widely used later. The same scenario can also happen, right? With any currency, it doesn't mean if it's with one it's going to happen or not going to happen with the Chinese one, but that's always a challenge because any crisis can happen in the future, and then you can also. There's always a risk, right, to keep one currency, right?
We said do not put the eggs in the same
basket. Exactly, right? Unless you can guarantee the Chinese economy or the US economy is gonna be always stable, right? Because what happens if there is a crisis? You can compare this with, let's say, something we're talking about digital payments, right? You can talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, right? You see the value, which is going up and down, but there's a trend to go up, right? What if suddenly something happens and then people lose trust on that and they start selling it? Then you lose the power of that currency as well. So that thing is always a risk in any ways. If you just take one currency, you take a digital payment or a cryptocurrency, so there's always...
they're influenced by the people's confidence for this kind of currency.
Exactly. It's about the confidence as well, right? So
do you think RMB through DCEP will replace the US dollar?
I think it will take some time. It cannot be immediate because there's always some tension between the biggest countries. So let's say US and China, there's always a tension there, right? So the US government, I guess, they will try to somehow combat or try to keep the US dollar as the main kind of currency used in the world. And then it also depends on the allies who are with the US. I mean, they will. It's just like a political also.
So this is how the US is going to fight back, right?
Exactly.
Through having allies with other Western countries,
Other Western countries, and it's all-
European
yeah.
countries,
Yes.
and so on. So
Yeah.
it takes some time.
It takes some time, definitely. I mean, when I was younger, I was studying, and I saw that 2000s, right? Chinese economy was actually booming, was growing up
Yes.
very fast. So people were saying maybe the RMB is going to replace the USD, but we are still not there yet, right?
Yeah.
It will definitely take some time.
Yeah.
Hard to tell.
Oh, yeah, I
Complicated.
agree.
Very hard to tell.
It's very complicated, but
Yeah,
I-
it's a
I think Sarah will agree with me that digital currency in China, has been with us for more than 10 years already. I think.
I guess so.
Yeah, I
think
guess
since
so,
2011 there is no. So there is always concern. It's about security concern.
Mm,
But privacy, right? Nobody wants the government to track their transaction.
that's true.
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't want my wife to know I pay my girlfriend. It's all about privacy. What do you think about the legal matters? I don't think there is such a law to keep the security, which we can feel safe.
I think even now with the current methods of payment, let's say in Hong Kong, you can use, let's say, PayMe, you can use Alipay, you can use using cash as well, bank transactions. At the end of the day, you can always know those transactions, but those are kind of, the bank is not going to share it to other banks unless there is, for example, some money laundering, some investigation, then the police comes in and they have to
Evaluate.
open up.
Yes.
Yeah, evaluate the personal whether it's good or not.
Exactly,
For
exactly.
customers. Yeah.
So if you have a centralized place, then of course definitely they will have access to everything, right? I don't think it should be publicly shared. I mean, like, let's say you are married with someone and then your husband or your wife, they shouldn't know exactly what they're doing. But then the centralized institution would know what's happening, right? And they can potentially use it for other purposes. Even, I think there are good and bad things. Good things is you can probably track down crime because, for example, digital currencies are also used to, let's say, pay for
That's true.
things which are not legal. So you can probably take that down, but at the
some
same
risk to do
yeah,
this.
at the same time, you also lose the privacy
Yes.
because they will definitely know, and that happens, I think, with any kind of currency.
Yes.
That's why actually, they have the cryptocurrencies now, which actually they claim that there is more privacy because you actually cannot exactly know.
Yes.
You can track the transaction, but you cannot exactly know who is making the payment or what.
Not only online currency, anything with online, anything with digital, with electronic, basically we are nicked.
Yeah.
I think I remember I watched a news or an interview saying that if once you step into the Los Angeles airport
Yes.
and you use their Wi-Fi, in 2 weeks,
Yeah.
where you go, even you go to Disneyland or anywhere, go to any shop,
Yes.
the US government has been tracing already. Of course, security issue and also privacy always a matter, also a concern.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we have already get used with such concerns.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. But in China or as a Chinese city like Hong Kong, international financial center, we always want to strengthen and to enhance our legal system,
Yes.
particularly when it coming to a very rapid online purchase platform and also the online digital currency digitalization and so on. So this is very important for us to raise the issue, and hopefully in the coming future, the government and also legal experts can deal with the problems so that we have safe and efficient digital currency.
That's right.
Well, thank you very much, Pablo, for coming and giving some informative insights about foreign currency. It was very fun. And let Pablo to say goodbye to us in Spanish.
Yeah, wow, cool.
Hasta pronto. I hope you liked the video and the sharing. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you, Jonathan and Sarah.
Yeah, thank you.
If you have any comments, please feel free to comment on our comment box below. And don't forget to subscribe and like our video. Thank you very much.